Hey there friends, in this video I'm going to be talking about a new prop firm that I tried out called Alpha Capital, how I received a payout from them. Let the intro roll. Hey friends, welcome back to Kai's Way, the path that we're all on to find financial freedom for our families. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Kai and I'm a funded trader and investor alongside being just a normal family guy like yourselves, trying to build a better future for my kids. And over 4 years ago, I decided to learn trading alongside my full-time job to try and make some extra income. I would highly recommend, if you are new to trading and interested, please go check out this video first, where I break down how to get into trading and how to get started as a complete beginner and learning the craft for absolutely free using resources that are freely available to you online. Here's a link to the video, guys. Go check that out. Just remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. This is entertainment only. I do not sell any courses, Signal, or Discords. I will never approach you first, so please stay safe, people. Okay, so the firm that I'm going to be speaking about in this video is Alpha Capital. Now, you've probably seen them on YouTube and various other traders talking about them and then popping up across the prop firm space, right? So I thought it would be a good one for me to try out, take the challenge, and essentially give you guys a no-nonsense breakdown. But at the end of the day, it's my duty, my responsibility to tell my community transparently what my experience has been like and what I think. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it 100 with you guys. So just looking at the actual web page, as you can see, Trustpilot's got them ranked pretty highly. They seem to have paid out X amount, 70 million in performance fees. Yeah, so please feel free to go and have a look at the Alpha Capital website and have a look at the various plans they have on offer. I'll leave that to you for you to do in your own time. So as you're aware, I treat trading like a business, and therefore when I'm assessing a firm, I'm assessing it as though they are a business partner to my trading business, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review Alpha Capital based on my own personal 6 criteria, or criterion should I say. My 6 criteria is, number 1, are the rules and parameters easy to understand? Number 2, the customer support. Number 3 is any slippage and platform execution issues. The 4th one is dashboard and metrics analysis. The 5th criteria will be around the payout process and reliability. And the 6th criteria will be around costs of a challenge. So with that being said, let's dive into criteria number 1, which is around actual parameters and rules of the firm. When you're trading and you're also copy trading, or you're trading multiple accounts with different firms, you really need to be, have some type of presence of mind to be able to execute your trades and be focused on the trading rather than focused on, oh, I'm going to trip up on this particular rule or whatever it might be. And, you just don't want to have that negative energy. So as you can see, this is the Alpha Pro plan. This was the one that I did, which was a 2-step plan. One thing that does stand out is you can change your phase 1 profit target. You can adjust these for an extra fee, I believe, at checkout. I didn't do that. You then have your minimum trading days are 3, so that is beating FTMO by a day. And then as you go down, you look at the leverages. I don't see anything in there that's out of the ordinary, if I'm honest. And then this was one thing that did stand out, was actually there is a max 40 lots sort of limit on the particular account I did, which is 100k. But in all honesty, you don't really need more than 40 lots. I found it absolutely fine, and I passed the challenge, and the verification pretty quickly. It wasn't in the 3 days. I think I took around 4 or 5 on each day, but there was enough lot sizing and leverage for me to be able to perform. Okay, so if you consider news trading, I mean, it is allowed, but you obviously have this 2-minute window on each side. Pretty industry standard, nothing in there that I would say was going to give me any sort of concern. Okay. So being totally frank, I mean, I'm going to give these guys a critical score throughout. I mean, out of 10, I'm actually going to give these guys a 10 out of 10 for their parameters and rules, because There's nothing actually in there that is giving me any concern as a trader who has a strategy and edge, right? You should be able to hit these profit targets. You should be able to stay within your drawdown, and also they're giving you the benefit of an additional less day, should I say, that you can move through the challenge and the verification stages quicker, which is better than the industry leader, which is obviously FTMO. You've got that one extra day. So I have no issue with any of these rules. They were absolutely fine, and there was no real danger of me violating them. So I have no reason to mark them down in this criteria. Let's move on to criteria 2. The second criteria we're going to talk about is customer support and the ability to raise questions and get answers fairly quickly. Now, we're not just talking about when you're buying a challenge or when you're in the challenge or verification phase. Okay, we're talking about when you're a funded trader as well. And you don't want to be in a position where your account has to be, paused while you get your question answered, or you're scared to trade your account until your question is answered and they're taking, 5 business days to come back to you. I would say this FAQ page was pretty substantial. There was enough in there for me to find the majority of my questions if I had any. But the one time I will say personal experience was I needed to go through a process of changing the bank details to my business bank account. I'd switched some accounts over and I got a very helpful email straight away. I responded straight away and it came back fairly quickly. I would say that whole process was, a 1-2 day thing. Didn't stop me from trading at all, my funded account. So absolutely smooth. So on that basis, I've had nothing negative to say about the firm in terms of customer support and customer service. However, I don't think I have had enough sort of opportunity to really test, the levels of the customer service, because a lot of it was kind of found through the FAQs, but I didn't have many problems for me to then go test actually, is their customer support good enough? Let me give you an example. If I'd experienced some crazy slippage or something negative had happened on my funded account and I raised it and then, it got escalated or whatever, I think when you have those kind of knowledgeable experiences, I think you can perhaps score it a little bit better. So I would say, to be fair, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 at this point, just because I have nothing negative to say based on my experience, but I don't have enough to give a solid 10 because I haven't gone through the trials and tribulations of everything that potentially can happen as a funded trader. Moving on to the third criteria, which is around platform, the execution, and the issue of slippage. Now, as you are aware, there has been a lot of industry noise about particular firms that are essentially slipping out their traders and taking out their stop losses, and that obviously caused a lot of negative press. Now, when you are sort of trading with a new firm, or when I am trading with a new firm, I do tend to watch my positions a little bit more. Naturally my trading style is more sort of positional trading to scalping. So I can hold a trade anywhere between sort of 30 minutes to, maybe 5 hours. That's kind of my window. So I have no issue if I'm planning like a 30-minute move or a 15-minute move, or a scalp move, to just sit there and actually watch the position play out, because sometimes I'm using order flow and level 2 data for my trading, right? So it just depends what type of move that I'm particularly in, right? And I can honestly say that I had my stop loss at certain places, and I didn't feel as though at any point when I did get stopped out that actually there was like a crazy slippage or a crazy wick, or it seemed as though price was moving in a drastic fashion to try and take out my stop. I didn't see anything untoward. I did monitor this quite a bit. That's just my personal experience. I did not see anything that gave me a great deal of concern. So in terms of the slippage issue, I would say that I can't really say anything negative. Okay, so the issue with CFDs is just generally you have the spread, and then, for example, you are going to get slipped, etc. And it can sometimes be a little bit loose with, how you get slipped. Whereas with the futures market, the minute you enter a trade and it moves, one tick in your favor, you're already in profit, right? So there isn't that spread concern when it comes to futures the way it is with CFDs. I won't dive into that too much right now, but with me being a positional trader where I'm holding a trade for, a period of maybe a few hours, even 30, 40 minutes, I'm not looking at 1 minute scalp moves. I'm not really that precious about, $10 or $15 or, of a slip, or my stop loss being at 900 and I get taken out 915. It just is what it is. Also, I'm factoring in the fact that I'm trading highly volatile assets such as Nasdaq, which moves quite aggressively within a 1 minute candle, and the same with gold as well. Gold can just move within a 1 minute candle, so many points. So, I'm not gonna start crying about 15 odd dollars of being slipped, etc. But to be absolutely frank, in terms of the purpose of this analysis, I have to say that in terms of execution and slippage, etc., I'm just going to give it an 8 out of 10, because it doesn't impact my style of trading. It doesn't mean that it's not going to impact others' it's not going to impact others' style of trading. So let's move on to the next criteria. So the next criteria is about dashboard and metrics analysis. So when you're doing the challenge, you want to be able to look at your trades, be able to analyze what's happened, what went good, what went bad, what's your risk to reward ratio. And also when you're a funded trader, likewise, you need to have that data to hand, okay? For me, the FTMO dashboard and live metrics is actually the gold standard, I believe, of dashboards across the prop firm space. I mean, I use multiple prop firms, and to be honest with you, the way that FTMO has live updates, just generally the ease of access and use of the dashboard, I personally think is really good. So for me, if I need to just analyze a quick trade I've done on the FTMO dashboard, I find it very simple and easy. Now, as you can see, Alpha are doing a lot of work in the back end infrastructure side of proprietary trading. So as you can see, they're using ACG Markets as their broker. They're trying to keep things in-house. They've obviously got the futures side as well. But as you can see, right, this is a team. I mean, I don't know any of the guys personally, so I'm not here to speak about that. But, it seems as though they are building the infrastructure around to have some type of longevity in the game, you would hope, right? Especially if they're now doing the futures side as well. However, coming back to the point of this criteria, which is as a trader and as when you're doing the challenges and also when you're funded, you need to have a dashboard that is fast, quick, reliable, that can give you the data as quickly as you need it. Now, I am going to say this was probably the bit that let Alpha down the most. Now, I don't know whether it's because I'm a Mac user or whatever. I tried different browsers. I tried to do all the different things to try and I tried different browsers. I tried to restart things and do things differently and have a look at whether it was something on my end, but I simply couldn't find any way to really make the dashboard, first of all, appear, and second of all, for it to be fast and efficient. I mean, you couldn't see some of the data sometimes, and I found that really strange, to be honest with you. I don't know if anybody else has had issues like that. Please drop a comment if you have. But again, guys, I'm just giving it to you 100% raw, right? So, this is, I believe, an area that, in terms of my personal journey, that I felt was perhaps a weakness of Alpha. And therefore, I'm going to have to honestly give this a score of like 5 out of 10 because, it was absolutely bang average. If you can't get access to the information and the information isn't updating quick enough and it doesn't seem to be sat there when I need to analyze and do my journaling, it's almost quite pointless, right? So apologies, guys, Alpha, if obviously it's something on my end with my computer, but I'm pretty sure it's not, because all the other dashboards and all the other proprietary firms work perfectly fine. But I just couldn't get access to stuff quick enough, and also it wasn't there and it wasn't updating, and also I just couldn't see very clearly in terms of the overall dashboard, day by day, how my P&L was looking. So, and as a trader, you kind of need that. So if you guys can work on that and you are watching this video, guys, I would say just a bit of feedback that that is an area that you guys perhaps need to work on. Okay, guys, the next criteria, we're talking about payouts and the reliability of you actually getting paid out. There's nothing worse than doing a challenge or doing a second phase verification or even being a funded trader, and whilst you're trying to execute your trade, you've got in the back of your mind, oh, this firm actually going to pay me out, okay? That is absolutely going to just ruin your game, ruin your performance. And as a trader, you need to be like an absolute prime athlete where all outside noise has to be gone for you to be able to execute your plan. So I'm sure those of you who have perhaps lost accounts with the firms have experienced that kind of anxiety, right? Now, when you're going with a new firm, obviously Alpha are new to me, that is always going to be on the back of your head, right? That, oh, are these guys actually going to pay me out? Are they going to sort of call me out on some type of technicality? I don't know, right? So you've always got that anxiety until you actually see the money in your account. But in terms of what their actual payout process is, it's 14 days after your initial trade, so same as FTMO, and there's nothing in terms of their minimum performance fee that's giving me any concerns. Obviously, they need you to make some minimum amount of money for them to justify the administrative costs of making a payout, which totally respect. The way they're aiming to, in terms of their SLA, in terms of payouts, is if your request is made on a Tuesday, your performance fees will be paid on or before Thursday, close of business. So I will talk about my experience in a moment with that. So they're sort of looking at almost circa two business days to get the performance fees paid, and then you've sort of got this is an additional requirement. So for your first performance fee request, a minimum of 5 trading days is required, right? I didn't particularly like this, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, okay? This was a bit of a cross for me. I think with this particular one, I think the reason why I didn't really particularly like this is because I wasn't aware of this at the start, that actually you're going to have to pass the challenge, you're passing the verification, and then you have to do this minimum 5 days trading days as well. So you have to kind of trade on 5 separate days. You don't have to do that with FTMO. You don't have to do that with a lot of other firms. With the futures firms, yeah, because there's a consistency rule there, but they make that very clear throughout. This for me, kind of, either I missed it, but I'm just basing on my experience. I didn't really see that at any point being an obvious sort of another loophole to jump through to get to a payout, right? Luckily for me, it doesn't matter because I'm quite a frequent trader, so I look for being active in the market, multiple times a week, not just once a week and done, right? So it didn't really affect me too much, but it's just that additional anxiety again that you've passed what they've asked you to pass, phase 1, phase 2, and then you have to do like a minimum 5 days to demonstrate consistency. But if your strategy is like you look for 1 or 2 moves, and you're looking for them per month, yeah, this might be a bit of a problem for you, to be honest with you. So again, I'm giving it to you guys raw. Hopefully appreciate the transparency. I'm just going to talk about the actual payout that happened. So the way I kind of approached this was, and I'll talk about my payout in a moment, was once I knew the amount I wanted to go for, made the request, obviously met the criteria, 14 days and the 5 trading days as well, right? That was all done. I would say in terms of reliability of payout, I have nothing negative to say. I made a request, payout was made within the time frame. So I'm actually going to give that part of the actual the reliability of a payout sort of on this one occasion, a 10 out of 10. Okay. However, we need to break this down a little bit further into, I would say, some sub-criteria, yeah? So this metric is looking at your longevity of getting payouts from these guys and the reliability that they're actually going to pay you out and not sort of drag up some type of technicality, right? I can't at this point 100% answer that. And my sort of general rule of thumb is that once you get to once you get to around this number, and there's been, I'm going to explain this to you guys in a minute. My criteria is like how I judge a firm is, if they've paid you out in the region of over 50K or 50K, $1,000 over multiple different payouts. We're not talking about one payout. We're not talking about 2. We're talking about you've accumulated this kind of number over multiple payouts, yeah? Okay. Now you're going to say, well, what if I've done that in one payout? Okay, cool. Well, I'm saying give it like 3, 4, 5 payouts, If you've been consistently paid out without any hassle, any problems, I think that's when you can start putting, a particular firm into the 10 out of 10 range. So I think, to be fair to Alpha, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to do another review, probably middle of 2025, God willing, and to see whether, there's multiple, payouts have happened without problem. Because I think then I can give it a true number based on reliability, okay? But based on the one payout that I got, yeah, that was fine. And then in terms of like actual ability to get to a payout, you've obviously got the 14 days, that's fine. But then I think this additional minimum 5 trading day stuff, and then, the minimal lot stuff you have to also deal with. I'm not sure that it's the best in the industry. I think that they are I still believe that they are behind FTMO in that area, and if it's working for them, great. Obviously, every firm's entitled to have their own parameters. So I think at this point, because I haven't had the multiple payouts from these guys, and also these additional loops that you have to sort of jump through, I think it would be fair to say that it's around a 7. I would say no. I would actually say an 8 out of 10 in terms of payout and reliability of future payout. I would go with that for now, and I'm happy to reassess that. I mean, this can only really get to 10 out of 10 once you have, taken multiple payouts like I've done with, the likes of TopStep, etc. So let's see how that pans out. Okay, so moving on to the final criteria in regards to this video, we're going to talk about the cost of actually doing a challenge. Okay, so if you just look here, this is the standard dashboard. We go for a 2-step Alpha Pro, 100k account. We're keeping the phase 1 profit target 10%, so we're not moving that around. And as you can see, it's at $497 now. That is very, very cheap. I mean, I would say that that's probably from the majority of the larger CFD firms, that's definitely very competitive for a 100k account. It's very good. And also, if you are interested, you can apply my own coupon code down below and get yourself a further discount should you wish. You absolutely don't have to, but link is in the description. So talking about cost, okay, as an actual parameter, what I would say is I'm going to have to give Alpha Capital literally a 10 out of 10, right? Because for me, I believe that they probably are one of the cheapest of the more recognized firms in back end of 2024. I can't really score them lower than a 10 because they are pretty much the cheapest. And if you get the coupon code as well, I think you're in a good place to get yourself a 100k account there. It's pretty cheap, right? So I don't think you can complain too much about the cost. Okay, so hopefully me breaking down my 6 individual criteria and giving Alpha Capital a score in each has provided some type of understanding. I can't guarantee these guys are going to be around forever. I can't guarantee any prop firm. So of course, if you are trading prop firms, do them at your own risk. There is always a risk that any firm can disappear or get into financial issues. So please be vigilant. And what I would say is just play the game as a funded trader. What do I mean by that? So I can tell you from experience and just generally being a funded trader that you might pass the challenges, you might get to a verification stage, but when it comes to the actual Ivy Leagues, the big boy leagues, time to go to the Super Bowl and you're actually trying to pull some money out of these firms as a funded trader, best believe that if you're risking 2, 3, 4% per trade, and you're trying to, you're trying to Hail Mary or YOLO these trades, I'm just telling you guys that they're going to pull you up on it. This isn't just Alpha, by the way. I'm talking about just firms in general now. Because of what's happened and the collapse in the industry, the regulation that's potentially now coming in via, that has come in the US, but also that's, the scrutiny across other countries, firms are a lot more on edge, right? So what I'm trying to say is that firms can disappear overnight, play the game, trade responsibly, use the proprietary firms for what they're there for, which is you need some capital, take that capital, put it into your own personal account, start trading that live money, treat the prop firms as if it's your own money. That's what I would say, my friends. That's probably the best way to handle this and to get some payouts. Okay, so here's a quick screenshot of the payout that I received. This is perhaps one of my lowest payouts I've had, and the reason for it is because I haven't traded with Alpha Capital. They're a new firm to me, and again, I'm trading like a business. So my best advice would be that first payout, just cover your cost, cover your expense, break yourself even. If you can make a bit of money, great. And then you continue to go. So, from that point onwards, it is, a risk-free venture for your business now because your costs have been covered. Yes, there's been an investment of your time to pass the challenges, whatever. I'm not saying go gung-ho, but what I'm saying is get to that first payout to not only test the prop firm's ability to pay you out, but then to also take risk off the table and then to enjoy the process of your trading to try and grow your capital and grow your payouts with the particular firm. So that's exactly what I did. I took out a payout as soon as possible to cover my risk and to essentially review how the payout process works with Alpha. So coming to the future now in 2025, I would say Alpha Capital is probably a firm I will be continuing to do business with. I am interested in their futures side because essentially I am a futures trader. By the way, if you are interested in futures, feel free to go check out this video where I made $42,000 in 20 days with an actual futures profit. So you might find some value in watching that. Link is just there. But yeah, so coming back to Alpha, I'm going to see how things go, and generally a positive experience. So if you want to check them out, like I said, link in the description for a discount. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Hopefully you found this content useful and valuable. Your support means everything to the channel to help it grow. So please support the cause. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care and stay safe.